Hello, everyone, and I do hope you're having a blessed day and your day was marvelous. Permit me to talk about a trendy issue, uh, the present presidential election in Senegal. As you know, it is indeed a trendy issue because it's not common in Africa for us to have presidents below 50s. And so when a country like Senegal demonstrates a change in perspective in Africa, all we can do is to understand it, talk about it, hoping that it can contaminate other African states. Because we know so well that in Africa, it's not common to see people have young leaders, especially leaders who are from nowhere. We always know of elite leaders, leaders who are fabricated, but this one is different. And I think that it is something that youth in Africa, if they really want to take Africa to a different level, can emulate. And I think that it can move, it can work, because if it has worked in Senegal, then it can work in other countries. Yet, what do we take home from this presidential election in Senegal? There were a lot of brouhaha going around about this election. We all know what went on. The president trying to manipulate the constitution, in fact, in every way. But that's not my concern. For me, I think that the take back home of this starts with Usman Sunko himself. Because, all this time, Usman Sunko was a figure. All the battle, the criticism, the actions against him. And at some point, the present government thought they would kill the regime, they would kill the vision by putting Sonko to prison. Yeah, that is where Sonko becomes the master of the game. Sonko succeeded in making this vision not his personality. What mattered to him was the vision. And at the time when he was not able to stand as candidate, he could bring the secretary. And I think that is where the regime failed. Because they saw just Sonko, and they thought with Sonko, if we take Sonko, like in other political drives, it is always about the persons. And sometimes when you touch the person, you kill the drive. This time in Senegal, it wasn't the case. It was different because Sonko knew how to prepare the game. Now, he knew what happened by bringing Bassirou was not automatic. It was a well-calculated plan. And we could see, even in his action, after they went out, after they left prison, supporting Bassirou for him, he knew that that was the lucky game. That was the lucky solution. In some other countries, political drives are always about persons. It is me and me and me. No, without me, there is nobody. There are a lot of political drives in other countries. Take, for example, the political drive in Cameroon. It is about Kamto. If not Kamto, no other person. Take, for example, the political drive in Nigeria, Peter Obi. If no Peter Obi, no other person. That's not how a political drive is supposed to be. A political drive is supposed to be that which can build leaders in such a way, even if the leader is no more there, someone can come up. If you take the case of Nigeria and Cameroon, you cannot tell me that without Peter Obi, no other person can drive the Labour Party. You cannot tell me that without Maurice Kamto, no other person can take that country forward. No, it's impossible. This is because political drives are much more for personal interest. And this was different in Senegal. Sonko would have said, okay, if I'm not being candidate, no other person can be, but oh, mind you, he knew, he masterminded this thing. And that's why for me, Sonko is the winner of this presidential election. Another issue we can see here is the unity of the opposition. You see, at some times, political leaders need to put aside their ego and move forward for the country. It is difficult. Political leaders don't look at that. They look at themselves. So you see, it was easy in Senegal because political leaders saw at some point that Bassirou was the right person, so let's give him our support. And we saw them come out. They made declaration as how the youth should support him. That is something to be applauded. When the interest of the nation is concerned, we can keep our personal egos and work for the interest of the nation, especially who is better placed. And the person that is better placed, we can put that person ahead. Imagine in the case of Nigeria, if Peter Obi and the other guy in the north, Atiku, went in for a united front. We'll not have Tinubu in power today. The same thing in Cameroon in 2018. You have Kamto, you have Akeremuna, even though he left at the eve of the election. You have so all these things, they kill political drives because people want it is me or me or me, which does not help our African countries. So if you want to emulate the Senegalese election, you have to copy this example. Another issue which I want to raise here is the involvement of the young people. Listen, without the young people, we will not be talking of what we are talking here today. President Macky Sall would have still been in power. Some lost their lives, some are in prison, but mind you, their temerity is to be applauded. The youth came out massively. In fact, they were hungry for change. Unlike other countries, where you see the young people are hungry for change, but they end up making noise, nothing to show. No, you can't be hungry for change with nothing to show. If you are hungry for change, there must be something. You must have to do something. These guys, not only they protected the constitution of their country, that was even supported by the Constitutional Council. It's true, a lot of people talk about the Constitutional Council, but mind you, the Constitutional Council felt the valor of the young people. So it could not. We know in other countries how the Constitutional Council, take the case of Ivory Coast, the Constitutional Council can easily align with the sitting president. But in Ivory Coast, it couldn't be the case because the youth were out and they knew if they tampered with that, then they will have to face the young people. So in order for them not to face the young people, they did everything possible to do what was right. And we saw what is happening. Now, not only before the election, during the election, listen, these guys went out. That is why on the eve of the election, they knew who was the winner. Because they went and voted, they supervised the election, they kept statistics. So it was not easy. Take the case of Nigeria. It wasn't the case. It wasn't the case. People will make noise, but they don't make noise where it is supposed to be heard. You can make all the noise. Listen, I think it is one dictator, Mussolini, who said, the problem is not who votes. If you can have who counts the election, you always win the election. So these guys, they did not only go to vote, they voted. They made sure the results were kept intact. And if they knew the result, let me tell you, they were ready. If the electoral body was to tamper with this election, the electoral body would have faced them. But no, they did everything. So the young people, if you want change, stop being behind keyboards and Android phones. It doesn't bring change to a country. What will bring change into a country is when you manifest your anger on political manipulations, on state manipulations, and you make sure that you are involved 100%. This is the message to Cameroonians. Next year, there's going to be presidential election in Cameroon. It is now. You must have to be committed to now. You have to start registering, have your voters card, go vote, and make sure that the result is protected and brought out. Because democracy is government of the people, for the people, and by the people. No leader is bigger than the people. Paul Biya cannot be bigger than the Cameroonian people. Paul Biya is only bigger because of the dormancy of the Cameroonian people. And this dormancy is the young people. We are not doing anything, but we want things to change. The election in Senegal is teaching us we can do something. If we want to do something, those old political leaders in Cameroon, they need to give way. They have tried their own. They need to give way for an emerging leader. We need to forget the Camto, the Cabral, Libi. All of them are not worthy of changing Cameroon. Stop wasting your time. The real person that will change Cameroon is a no-name. Bassirou is a no-name. And Senegalese believed in him. They needed a transition. And it doesn't matter where he comes from. All these fabricated leaders, all these fabricated allied leaders will not do anything for Cameroon. So Senegal is talking to us. If you want to listen, listen. If you don't want to listen, then let it die. But they have taken the lead and they are doing great things for their nation. Now, what is my take on President Bassirou? I don't want to I don't judge a leader before his leadership. I just believe that with the lovely assistance of Usman Sunko, because they started this thing together, he's going to be a good leader. But my advice to him is that he should adopt a proximity leadership. We are fed up with the allied centralized leadership that is holding Africa. We have leaders who are still enjoying the colonial system leadership that is killing Africa. We need leaders that are closer to the people, to understand their aspirations, to understand their needs, and be able to respond to that. We need leaders who are more close to the people than ever, so that the leaders can understand their people and the people can understand their leaders. It is only in that I feel Bassirou can do something. And I also urge him to be very careful with political infiltrations. You know, sometimes when we look at what is happening presently in Nigeria with the Labour Party, then we tell ourselves that it was better for Peter Obi not to come to power. Peter Obi may have had a good political drive, but a lot of political infiltration can destroy a political drive. Imagine if Labour Party was to be in presidency in Nigeria, with all the fighting, the in-house fighting now, it shows that a lot of political infiltration happened. Political infiltration will happen to derail the vision. That's what I pray Bassirou should be very careful about. Because a lot of people are going to come in now. A lot of people are going to come in now claiming the victory. It's easy in Africa for people to claim victory than to claim defeat. When you are defeated, you are all alone. When you succeed, you are not dead. Now they make you. Now they make you become president. There are a lot of those people. Sometimes even those old people. I think he has to be very careful because they will drive him down. He has to be very watchful and stick to the plans. Focus on what he promised the people. The people elected him on something, and he is not going to deliver. That same people, I trust the Senegalese people, will vomit him. It doesn't matter, because there is time for change, and he is voted for change. Thank you guys for being part of this Chronicles. I will from time to time be bringing out some of these so that together we can always reflect on issues, be it business, economics, finance, etc., and even politics. Thank you, and I do wish you all a nice week. Bye-bye.